What's up, Tiger Nation? It is time for Around the Paw, and this is an episode that we have been looking forward to ever since the clock hit zero in Death Valley on Saturday night. And guys, I tell you what, there were a lot of things that I might have had on my football bingo card on Saturday. I don't know that 66 points for the Clemson Tigers against Appalachian State was one of them. So let's break this down and talk about that game, and let's talk about all that went right for the Tigers in their home opener against the Appalachian State Mountaineers. Before we do, I'm Garrett Mitchell, if you don't know me, along with Griffin Barfield and Clifton Kennedy, the crew here at Around the Paw. And Griffin, let's start with you. You were actually at the game on Saturday. So was it as thoroughly dominating in person as it looked like to us watching on TV?
Absolutely. And at the point in time towards, that latter half of the first quarter, and again, I can go on and on with every different position group and what went well, and because almost everything went well, everyone was just looking for records because everybody was breaking records. It was the most points in the first quarter in Clemson history, which is crazy to think about. Just from a standpoint of Cade Klubnik, Phil Maffa, Jake Brenningstool, those I'll add in Bryant Wesco too, in his first start in a Clemson uniform. All those guys at 100-plus yards receiving and rushing, which was the first time in a while. I forgot the actual date, but there was so much good in that game that, Garrett and Cliff, I don't really even know where to start with it. And it was as dominating as what people thought towards that third and fourth quarter when you were seeing the second and third strings being able to make plays. It was fun to watch. It was one of the most fun games that, I've seen this Clemson team play, and I'm hoping that this is only the start for them.
Yeah, I totally agree, and they kind of flip-flopped it a little bit. I think all of us here were like run to open the pass, right? Well, I think they flipped it and did pass to open the run. It was, third play of the game, you throw a bomb to Wesco, and, Maffa got his, but yet he only had 10 carries, but he got his 100 yards, it was crazy. Brenningstool got 100 yards. Wesco got 100 yards on 3 receptions. 3. And then I think they just took him out and said, we don't need him anymore. And, but it's funny because, and I told several people this, when the young guns show up and play, it made everybody else want to be better. And because everybody wants their playing time, right? And when your playing time gets yanked, and then the young guns go out there and, ball out, then everybody else gets theirs, and starts playing well too. So healthy competition is always good.
Well, Cliff, I'm not going to let you shortchange Bryant Wesco like you just did. He had 3 catches for 130 yards.
Yeah, sorry, 130.
Attention all Clemson fans. Get ready for a game day like never before. Looking for the best game day parking in Clemson? Golden Gate Parking has got you covered. With over 100 spacious spots for cars, trucks, and RVs, you can tailgate like a champion without worrying about missing kickoff. And to make things even easier, our shuttle service will take you right to the game for just an extra $10 per person. Don't wait until the last minute to reserve your spot. Book now. Cade Klubnik turns that first pass loose on third down on the first drive of the game. And as soon as he let it go and the camera angle panned back, I saw Wesco running straight down the middle of the field. And I thought to myself, holy shit, he actually has a chance to catch this ball. And then he just pulled away from the defender, ran right under it. It was goodbye. And my first thought, aside from, holy cow, we just scored on a long touchdown pass, was why exactly didn't we see him the week prior? Could he not have helped a little bit? It's neither here nor there. But I think I can say for all certainty that now that Bryant Wesco has arrived, I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I think he's probably a starter from henceforth.
No, I completely agree.
There's two things. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're all good. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it boils down to two things. It's either Dabo was like, "I'm gonna hold on and let the older guys play," or he said, "I'm gonna put Wesco in a position where he can succeed and just ball out." And App State was the game to do it. I mean, it's one of those two.
I think the other big thing about Wesco's performance, and Cade said it in the post-game press conference too, is that Wesco changed his route a little bit to make that catch. As that X receiver, I believe that he was making up and making just a flat trying to catch across in the middle. But if you watch the play, Wesco makes his run a little bit deeper. He angles it a little bit deeper, so he gets past those 2 free safeties, and that's when Klubnik throws the ball. If Wesco made that regular route, he would have had 2 safeties in his way to make the play. It would have been a catch, but he altered the route to go around there. And Cade said it too. He recognized the play. They had two safeties back. They were in a cloud, I believe he said. And Wesco just made another great play. But the second play I thought was even better. He was able to track that ball down through the light, which was something Antonio Williams wasn't able to do in that Georgia game. And he was able to make a catch in traffic. And I was surprised it wasn't a touchdown. And then Klubnik punched it in a play later. But this kid's special. We haven't even talked about T.J. Moore either. He had a touchdown as well. And he had a lot more snaps than he did against Georgia. And I thought that he played very well. He found his open space and he got a touchdown because of it. So, fair play to those guys. And I know we'll get to the defensive side of the ball in a minute because a lot of freshman phenoms made a great amount of plays as well. But it was so relieving as, someone that has watched Clemson for 3+ years and seen that team, with Trevor Lawrence, with the deep ball, Deshaun Watson, going from, the bubble screens and the quick passes, and you're finally able to air that ball downfield and you're having success. It's really fun to see.
Yeah, and look, you finally, and Clemson fans have been clamoring for this for the last 3 years, wondering where has the explosive passing game gone? Do we not have guys who can get down there, get behind a secondary, and get open and just pull off these explosive chunk plays? I think we finally see that there are 2 guys who are capable of doing that, probably 3, and I would even venture to say 4 with a healthy Antonio Williams and Tyler Brown as well. But it's apparently obvious. Bryant Wesco and T.J. Moore give this offense an element that it's been lacking for the last several years. And we'll get to Cade Klubnik in a minute because, look, you still have to have a quarterback to get the ball to these guys. But it was really refreshing to see playmakers who can take the top off of a defense. And I'm just sitting there on my friend's couch watching this, and I watched it with a friend of mine. He's a Gamecock fan. God bless him. But he was a good sport. Look, I have DirecTV. I couldn't watch the game because of their little spat with Disney right now. So he was like, come on, I'm a Gamecock, but I'll watch it with you. And I think even he was impressed with those guys a little bit.
No, yeah, I think you're forgetting about Jake Brittingstool as well. He had 2 touchdowns. He was able to make a play down the line to score, stay in bounds. And he also had another catch and run to score one in the second quarter.
Yeah, you want to call it
he's a huge red zone threat. Makes great plays.
The hip pass. Look
what I found. Look what Jake Brittingstool
the ball. Yeah, the ball just stuck to his hip. Cade threw it so hard. You know what I mean? And threw it on the line. It just stuck to his hip.
Well, look, Saturday's game.
I didn't see that from up there.
Saturday's game. So going back, there were so many incredible statistics and little factoids of information that came out after the game was over. And look, a shout out to the Clemson athletic department and to the Clemson football sports information team for getting all of that stuff to us who are covering these games and who are doing these podcasts and writing these articles. I mean, look, the amount of time and research it takes to get some of this information is fantastic. So, let's give a shout out to those guys because we appreciate what they do so much. But one of those bits of information that came out after the game was that it was the first time since November of 2019, so 5 years, that Clemson has had 2 100-yard-plus receivers in the same game. In 2019, it was T. Higgins and Justin Ross against South Carolina. So that should give a bit of perspective to just how dominant that performance was.
To add on to that, The last time that there were two 100-plus yard receivers and a 100-yard rusher, because Moffa had 100-plus yards, he had that 82-yard house call, was 2012, NC State in 2012, which is crazy to think about that we have not seen an offense this dynamic. But the factoids just go on and on. Like it was the most offensive yards since 2019, Wofford, which is, crazy to think about. And, obviously you can't celebrate too much over what occurred because you don't know if this is going to be a one-time thing. I am not going to fully buy into it until I see it next week against NC State. If I see that deep ball aired out, which I expect to happen, I really think that this team has playoff potential. I think this team definitely has the chance to be at the top of the ACC if they keep playing like they did last Saturday.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, man, and I think it is going to continue, but I am cautiously optimistic about that. But I will say this, man, and the one reason I think it is going to continue is because I don't know if y'all remember the flea flicker when he underthrew the receiver.
Yes.
Do you remember that? Okay.
I could tell what was coming, and you could see that play setting up from the time the ball was snapped.
Yeah, well, he missed that. There's a pass interference. Instead of going away from it, they go right back to it and throw it for a touchdown. Like, that tells me that this is going to continue. And I don't think like in the Georgia game, they wouldn't have gone right back to that. Like, I just feel like, they had enough confidence in him in the way he was playing, and I saw Cade sit back, feel confident, not have happy feet, and just throw dimes and ropes. And when Cade plays like that, nobody can stop him.
Was contagious. You saw guys who struggled mightily against Georgia. Cole Turner, Adam Randall, even going back to last season. Once Wesco and Moore and then Brenningstool started putting up these big numbers, making these great plays, it's like it rubbed off on everybody else. And I was seeing some bursts out of Cole Turner, out of Adam Randall that I had not seen, that I don't think any of us had seen. They looked like totally different players.
Yeah, that catch from –
No, I completely agree.
Yeah. I mean, that catch that pass from Vizina to Cole Turner that he made like this and was jumping back. It was unbelievable. It's one of the best catches I've seen in a long time. And the one that Adam Randall had where he was kind of crossing over the middle and Cade just put it on him, and then he got blistered by that DB. And I mean, the guy just knocked him, but he got up and he was just like, what? Like, I caught it. What next? Let's get a touchdown. Catching's contagious, just like hitting's contagious. I totally believe that.
Yeah, now there's two other elements to the offense I want to talk about for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to what we saw defensively on Saturday. We have to talk about Cade Klubnik, and we haven't really dove into his numbers yet, but 24 of 26 passing, 378 yards, 5 touchdowns. He rushed for 2 more touchdowns. And again, going back to the information that was provided to us by the athletic department, it was the first time an FBS quarterback in the last 25 years has thrown for 5 or more touchdowns, rushed for 2 or more touchdowns, and had a completion percentage of 90% or higher in the same game. 25 years. That's a long time between seeing games like that. It puts some perspective into just what a historic pace Klubnik was playing at, and he only played 2 quarters.
And he had 0 interceptions.
Right.
So
he never also seemed to throw the ball in any sort of danger. And I said this last week too, that there was a lot more confidence with him in the pocket. He was a lot more calmer, was able to make moves with his legs. And that was something that he said last week too, is that he wanted to use his legs more. He used it as a safety valve, and he rushed in for 2 touchdowns. And I'm sure that's just the start. He didn't make a lot of throws in the run, but you didn't need to, because that offensive line was so dominant. last Saturday. And that's what's going to happen with a historic performance like that. You're the player of the week. You're the offensive player of the week, the co-ACC offensive player of the week for some reason. Don't get me wrong. Kyle McCord's a great quarterback, but that was Klubnik's and Klubnik's only. So I just thought that he has shown tremendous strides. And if the offensive line continues to give him time, which I expect him to, I expect a lot more wide receivers, Stool, and a lot of the tailbacks, especially Maffa, to get a lot more production on offense.
I totally agree with that. I don't know if y'all watched the latest Aaron Murray video about Cade.
I did. I actually was watching that in my car. I had it up on Bluetooth in my car on the way home from work today. I watched about the first 5-6 minutes of it.
Yeah. So the one thing that Aaron Murray said, and after watching the video, I agree. He could have thrown the ball just a teensy bit earlier. Like the guy was open
on the Wesco touchdown. Yeah.
On 2 or 3 balls. And he was like, that's just the quarterback in me, just wanting to get better.
Yeah. And one thing that I noticed too, and this is one final point I want to make on Cade's performance from Saturday, is ever since he's taken over as the starting quarterback at Clemson, Cade has never appeared truly comfortable. It just appears he's either pressing or he's trying to do too much, almost as if he's put the entire burden of the team and the offense on his own shoulders, and it's just too heavy to get off. On Saturday is the first time that I think I've truly seen him comfortable, and I say that there's only one other game where I think I've truly seen him comfortable, and that was when he came in the ACC championship game 2 years ago and came in place of DJ Uiagalelei. I thought he looked free and comfortable and easy in that game. I never saw that last year. I didn't see it against Georgia. But last Saturday night, I finally saw the same Cade Klubnik that I saw against North Carolina 2 years ago.
I agree. I saw a few spots, that last drive against Kentucky in the Gator Bowl. I saw a little bit against Georgia, but Georgia's going to constantly throw pressure at you because they're one of the best defenses in the country, and that's what they're going to do, especially that front four. But with a team like App State, you were finally able to just see that solely. And football is a confidence-instilled game. Adam Randall said it earlier a few weeks ago before the Georgia game. If this team's confident, and this is a team that, hasn't been that confident since, maybe that late game run and still install a little bit, but there was nothing to play for. Everything's still on the table for this team. They could go to the ACC championship game. They could make the playoff. They can, is this a national championship winning team? I guess we'll find out in weeks to come, but they sure played like one. But yeah. I'm not going to get overzealous about that, but I really thought that he made tremendous strides, and a lot of people finally saw it on Saturday, especially just from a whole game standpoint. He was nearly perfect.
Yeah, I mean, the passes that he did were incomplete, were just straight up drops, if I remember. And yeah. And so, well, except for the one in the end zone, he overthrew one of them, but the other one was a drop. But I mean, it just shows, man, when you're confident, and when Cade does not get happy feet and knows that he has time to throw and stays in the pocket, and then when he needs to step up in the pocket, how awesome of a quarterback he can be, and the potential that is there.
Right. And one bit that I want to talk about on offense, Griffin, you mentioned the offensive line. Dabo Swinney has said since the Appalachian State game, and this is paraphrased, not a direct quote, it's a paraphrasing, but he said that right now through the first 2 games that Ryan Linthicum, the starting center, might be the MVP of the team. Wow. That is really high praise coming from a head coach talking about the center on your offensive line potentially being the MVP of the team through 2 games. And that should be an indication of just how good these guys have played. It is, to me, it's for a program that even winning 2 national championships, everybody still pointed to the offensive line being one of the weak links, even on those 2 teams. But through 2 games, even against Georgia, the offensive line has looked night and day different.
Yeah, they were, maybe not close to the MVP because it's tough to play a better game than what Cade Klubnik played on Saturday night. But again, I don't think there were any holding calls out of that first 5 set of guys. I know Sadler had one, later on down the line when, Dabo was mixing matching players, but they played flawlessly. And you got to give it to Matt Luke again. He knows how to generate a winning offensive line that gives his quarterback time. Again and again, and I'm excited to see it again against NC State and in weeks to come is how they continue to gel, and especially with Linthicum. I've been really impressed with how he has transitioned as that guy that was the second team center behind Will Putnam for 3-4 years, right? I believe he is a redshirt junior, and he's finally able to get that moment, and he's been the MVP of the team according to Sweeney. So I think the biggest change to this whole team has been that offensive line, and it's clearly shown over the last 2 games.
Yeah, Matt Luke has earned his paycheck, and done
and then
some. Like whatever bonuses he was promised, at the end of the year, he's definitely going to get them at least through 2 games, and so, but he has definitely been worth every penny that Clemson spent on him.
All right, before we go any further, let's give a shout out to one of our fine sponsors, Venture Concrete in Greenville, South Carolina, where concrete meets excellence. Transform your property with the help of our expert concrete services. And at Venture Concrete Greenville, we pride ourselves on delivering top-notch, licensed, and insured concrete services to homeowners all over the Greenville area. From driveways to patios to building slabs, our team of trained professionals can handle any residential project with ease and expertise. Venture Concrete is owned and operated by Clemson Tigers, serving Clemson Tigers and the upstate of South Carolina. You are always on solid ground with Venture Concrete. Now, over on the defensive side of the ball Saturday, now look, App State scored 20 points. That's a pretty good number. Curious to get your take on the defense Saturday. I thought there were a couple times that maybe they got a little bit lax, which I'm sure it's easy to do with the offense putting up the points at such a rampant pace. But at the same time, third and fourth quarters, you're playing just second, third string guys and walk-ons, and you held App State to only 7 points in the second half, which I thought was just phenomenal. So all in all, I mean, look, I can't nitpick too terribly much because 66-20, I think, speaks pretty much for itself.
Especially on the defensive side. How about freshman Sammy Brown leading the team in tackles? First and foremost. Stephiylan Green got a sack. He had another tackle for a loss. Ricardo Jones, another freshman with an interception. I saw Ashton Hampton out there a little bit. Just as a whole, Wade Woodaz's brother. Wade was talking about it at the post game, saying that I believe Drew missed a tackle, and Wade's like, we got to fix that. Like he was going to grill him for it out of brotherly love. But almost everyone that touched the field made an incredible play. How about Levi Matthews with that interception in the fourth quarter?
A play! That
was a very good play
by anyone's standards.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just everyone played well. I don't have anything to really nitpick about it. I thought, from a standpoint, they were able to force Joey Aguilar 23 incompletions. He was, I believe, 19 for 42. Or 18 for 41. Yeah. I apologize. So credit to that secondary, credit to the front seven for, giving him no time. It was, like I said, nearly a flawless effort up front.
Yep. I totally agree that they gave up 0 points in the fourth quarter. And, of course, we didn't score in the fourth quarter either. And but, yeah, the defense played well. Sammy Brown showed what he can do. And, all those freshmen that we got in, Stephiylan Green, like you talked about, they all played well. So, it was just great. And that first interception, I think it was Jones, that was the dumbest throw I've ever seen in my life. Like, what the heck is that App State guy thinking throwing that ball? But it was a great interception.
You know what? Now, I know which one you're talking about now. And I was sitting there with my friends watching this game. And as that play's unfolding, the Clemson had blown the play up. It was going absolutely nowhere. And then he flips the ball forward. It gets picked off. And my Gamecock friend turned and looked at me and said, where the expletive was he throwing that damn ball?
Yeah.
And it just, he busted out. He about fell on the floor laughing. He's like, where in the blank was he throwing that?
Yeah.
I was like, well, apparently
maybe out of bounds.
He was throwing it at somebody in an orange jersey.
Yeah, I think he was trying to throw it out of bounds, but it didn't get there, of course. But yeah, that was a great interception. And we just played an A game. Like, you couldn't play any better. And yeah, it's App State, but App State's one of the better teams in what do you call that division? Is it FBS? It's not FBS, is it? I can't remember. The
Group
second
of
tier,
FCS.
Group of Five.
FCS.
That's what it's called. Yeah,
Group of 5.
the Group of 5. Yeah, and they're one of the best, and they always find a way to give teams with a number beside their name a hard time, and that just didn't happen. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's ever happened when we played them. I don't think that's ever happened. I was looking at scores before the game, and one of them was like 48-0. One of them was like 34-0. The other one was like I don't know, 34-10 or something like that. So they've never really given us a hard time. But to expect what we put up and how many touchdowns we put up and how many touchdowns we put up in a row, and 8 for 8, I think it was, like that. You just don't see that.
Yeah, no doubt. And, it's one of those nights, like I said, you've just been looking for that for such a long time. And this is what Clemson can be. This is what this team can be. It's what they're capable of. Look, you're not going to score 66 every time out. You're just not. But the innovation, the creativity, the explosiveness on both sides of the ball is what Clemson fans have grown so used to seeing for the better part of a decade. And I think what you saw Saturday was, and what it brought about was the knowledge that this team can still do this. It's like riding a bike. You never really forget. This team is still capable of doing what we're used to them doing.
Yeah,
I completely agree. Another big thing. I don't think that I think this will be probably the best game from start to finish that Clemson will play. Right. I think you see these flashes of these 50-plus yard plays, the Maffa 70-yard rushing plays that are going to happen throughout a game. I don't think that you're going to be able to tear a secondary up like Florida State like they did against App State. I think you're going to see these big plays that are just going to break these defenses apart slowly. And I think that's all Garrett Riley. It was my friend Toby. He was there. He sent a tweet out that Dabo did not have a playbook, meaning it was all Garrett Riley on Saturday night, which was huge. And you saw it. You saw the players in motion. You saw the deep passes. You saw the air raid offense that was there at TCU when he was there, where he won the Assistant of the Year. So I really think it's incredible confidence. It's incredible momentum. It's nice to get a win at home. It's nice to get a win in general to start out your season. And now you begin ACC play with rest. You're in a bye week and some of the most confidence that you've ever had entering ACC play.
Man, this is the worst time to have a bye week. I just want to put that out there. The worst time to have a bye week. But duly noted point, and I agree with you. But at the same time, I don't think anybody was expecting a 66-20 historically good offensive victory last week either. So hindsight's 20/20 on the bad timing of a bye week. Yeah, I mean, we did have an injury. You got Peter Woods that got banged up, Tyler Brown got banged up. So that hit to Peter Woods was
dirty.
It was dirty for real. But from what I understand, he's going to be okay. They held Tyler Brown out, after he got nicked up. They didn't play. I think it was number 70. Was it Lee?
Marcus Tate.
I think it was Marcus Tate. That's who it was. They didn't play Tate. They held him out. So he got extra rest. So they're gonna get more rest this week. But yeah, man, like you said, hindsight's 20/20. But yeah, you wish they could go play next week and keep this momentum going.
Right. Now, you did
Or
lose
this
Kobe
week.
McLeod for the year.
Yeah.
And that's a guy that
You
was
lost
going to
2
contribute.
people.
So
I think you lost 2 people. One of them was a
That's
backup.
right.
He lost Caleb Nix. He tore his ACL.
Yeah. Bo Nix's
Yeah.
brother. Yeah. So
yeah. And losing Kobe McLeod and what that's going to do, and certainly you never ever want to see anybody get hurt, but that is, and I think Coach Swinney even said it, that's going to increase the snap count for Sammy Brown.
Yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
How about Sammy Brown on one side and Barrett Carter on the other? Like in the same game. Like
that's a bad day for a lot of people.
Yeah. Like that could be on the horizon.
Yeah.
Like with Kobe McLeod being out.
That's like driving to work in the morning and your car breaks down in the middle of the railroad crossing and you hear the train coming.
Yeah. I mean, of course you got whoop ass too. So, wood ass. Dabo likes to call it an other word, but but you got.
Well, if you're going to call him whoop ass, can we call Sammy Brown Can? And so you can open up a can of whoop ass on everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't worry, everybody watching this and listening to this. We're not charging extra for that. That is just your free cheesy football pun of the week.
Yeah. But
that one's free. Enjoy it. It's my gift to you.
True.
All right. So as we wrap this up, as we're wrapping this episode up, now as is customary, we always make game predictions at the end of every episode. Now I hear tell that bye week is a pretty tough opponent. You know, bye week can be tricky. So are we beating bye week this week?
After last week, I would say so.
I would think so. It's huge. You're able to nurse some injuries. Peter Woods, Tyler Brown. Tyler Brown was in a walking boot today. From what I was told, someone saw him on campus. But it's huge. You're able to nurse your guys, get some injuries back. I don't really see any in-practice injuries. I'm gonna knock on wood there. But it's a good week. You're able to get some of your key players back, and you're able to kind of just situate and get ready for NC State, who have a game this week too. So they're running a little bit shorter than Clemson is. So Clemson will be the more ready team, and they're at home.
Yeah. I totally agree with that.
Either way, look, whenever you have a game like that, though, whenever you have a big win, a big exciting win, you start to go through withdrawal. And another reason that's going to have a bye week, because when you come off of a win like that, it's so exciting, it's so exhilarating. You just want more and more and more, and then you realize you have to wait 2 weeks for it, and that's no fun.
Yeah, exactly.
So, unfortunately, comes with it's the price of being a fan, right?
Yeah, that's why I said this bye week could not have come in a worse time for the momentum that they created last week. Yeah,
no doubt. Well, hey, next episode, we're going to get to talk about Clemson's next opponent. That's the NC State Wolfpack. I think that was a game, and I'll throw this in here right as we close out this episode. That was a game that was very highly anticipated by Clemson, by NC State, really by everybody around the ACC. And, I think it's unfortunately lost its luster a little bit simply because NC State got boat raced by Tennessee, which – I expected Tennessee to win. I don't think I expected them to win by 41 points. So, hence we get another noon kickoff. Joy, another 12 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
It's better for people that are reporting on the game because you're not home at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll be able to – you're there early. You get home later. You're able to watch the late game next weekend. So – I don't mind them. That's a hot take. I don't mind noon kicks at all. You get it over with. You enjoy the win, and you watch the game at night, and you're just tired. I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it.
I was kind I was kind of hoping for like a 3:30 kickoff or something like that because I was wanting to go by one of my friends' tailgate and say hey before I went in the stadium. But I'm not opposed to a noon kickoff as a reporter as well, because you do get home in a decent hour, and I mean even at a 3:30 game, you're getting home at 9-10 o'clock. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to it at all. As a fan, yeah, I hated it, but as a reporter, they're probably one of the best games to report on.
Well, look, guys, before we sign off, here is my shameless admission of the week. I actually do miss Pac-12 after dark.
I completely agree. It's not the same. It's not the same watching USC and Cal on two different conferences.
Oh,
Yep. Look, working for Parks and Recreation Department, sometimes you have to go in on Saturday nights, maybe around 8 o'clock or so, work for 2 or 3 hours. And, I've always loved getting home around midnight, maybe a little after midnight, hitting the shower and then just, plopping down on my couch and turning on the TV at 1 a.m. and being able to watch the second half of Oregon, whoever, or Cal, Stanford, and being able to see those late games. It was just like my unwinding time. So, yeah, that's my shameless admission. I'm going to miss Pac-12 after dark.
Yeah,
I'm sure you're not alone.
Yeah, speaking of Cal, how about them beating up on Auburn?
Yeah, another one I didn't have on the bingo card. Did not.
No.
Neither did I.
Thank goodness I didn't have a parlay. I would have lost my money big time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why when I gamble on sports, I only gamble for barbecue dinners. You could ask my friends. I would much rather lose $20 buying a friend of mine something to eat. I'm going to get to eat too. I mean, really have a lost?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I still get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, hey, we still get to enjoy this win from last Saturday. Now we get to look forward to next Saturday, 12 noon kickoff. It's going to be on ABC against NC State at Death Valley. Should be another great game. And, hey, we'll be back next week on the next episode of Around the Paw to preview that game. We'll break it down and tell you everything that you can expect when the Tigers and the Wolfpack meet. It's always a good time. It's always a great game, and maybe even a coronary or two. And we'll tell you all about it on the next episode of Around the Paw. But until next time, I'm Garrett Mitchell for Griffin Barfield and Clifton Kennedy. As always, we say good luck, Godspeed, and go Tigers.
Go Tigers.